So Keith, this trip, you've been teaching me a few things, and this is a technique that you call feathering to start a fire. It's something that I really think is going to be good for me to learn, but also the viewers, because a lot of us like to start fires.
100%. And you know, when I came on board with Cold Steel, I got to work with a lot of survival specialists, really good bushcraft survivalists, and some of the neat tips and tricks that I've learned, it's fun to share. So, you know, one of the things that I just did right here, you got to stump. I pounded the blade in. The reason I pound the blade in is then I'm not trying to feather it with my hand necessarily and get, you know, where you might cut yourself or you're not getting quite the feathering technique that you want. So I've got this pounded in right here.
And it's solid, okay?
It's solid. So I'm gonna kind of probably brace it with my knees. But you can take green. This is a great example for green. You know, if you need to dry out green, like we've been hunting bear in the swamp, right? Everything's wet there. Everything's green. So we want to start a fire with it. The easiest thing to do is get some green like this.
So is your preference green, or is it just green because that's what we've got?
That's what we've got. That's what we got. You can take dry, and you're going to get a lot of little tender pieces like this. But if you're wanting that true cool looking feather technique, it works good to have a little bit of the soft bark, you know, on this thing. But I've got this pounded in, it's rock secure, okay? I've got my hand here, and you can just start doing this, and you'll see that I am feathering just some beautiful, I don't know if you guys can catch it.
And you're not taking much wood at all.
No.
And that's probably the best process of it, because that is going to dry out really quick.
It dries out really quick.
And immediately start.
Right, so you can bundle all this up and put it on and strike a magnesium starter to it or whatever and get that going. But if you just sit here, and you'll get a feel for it, where you can sit there and make all these duck curl feathers that you need. And right there is a good example of it. And that's as simple of a way of drying wood out and getting you thin stuff that catches fire. Really fast.
And so with this green wood, how long will you let it dry before you'll try to start it? Is it right away, or do you give it a little bit of time?
It's a feel thing. Okay. So this depending on the tree it is, this would be something you can still feel a little dampness on it. Set it out there in the sun, you know, or whatever for 5-10 minutes. No, it won't. Okay. You know, and then if you have a bunch of dry stuff, instead of necessarily the feathering, you're going to get these shavings. This is actually feathering pretty nice.
Yeah, but you're right. There's a couple pieces that are coming off. So yeah, look at that. That's stuck together pretty nicely.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. That crumbles. Put that on there. Fire starter.
Brilliant.
Poof, and you got it going on. The neat thing about this too is if you are I'll try to get a really pretty feather here. I might have cut that there.
And one train of thought before you tell me what you're doing. Do you like to pull it off and start it down here, or do you start it on the stick?
That's just so funny, because this is my whole point.
Oh, okay.
I was going to tell you.
Okay.
No, break a bunch of it off, get it down here, but leave some on the stick. And when you strike that, now you've got this ball that you can stick underneath, you know, and get that fire started underneath your group of logs.
That makes total sense. Wow.
So that is
well, that's a tip that's going to help a lot of people get if they're out in the woods, they don't have paper or anything to start it. This is a quick, easy tip to get them started.
It's very simple technique, and it's very secure. You know, a lot of times when you get into that whittling or whatever, all of a sudden, you know, you slip or whatever, and you could cut yourself.
Well, that shows the importance of a good hard steel that holds a nice edge, because that wouldn't be too easily done if you didn't have a nice sharp knife.
Yes, and something you can bang into wood. You know, that it's trustworthy. And that's the other thing. When you're going to the woods, spend the money. A great knife will save your life.
100%.
A bad knife might really frustrate you when it breaks.
Yeah. There we go, there we go.
And voila.
Nice quick way to start a fire, man. Impressive.
Do you get yourself your own little fire?
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. And I'll teach my kids this.
That's the way of the world right there. You never know.
Exactly.
Hey folks, hope you enjoyed that video. Please hit the like button, comment, as we'd love to know how you felt about it. And if you'd like more great Canadian adventures, please subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss any new content coming out. And as always, our amazing outdoor adventures are shared on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Please come along for the adventure. We'd absolutely love to have you along for the ride.